Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back. Let's just dig right into it. Tevin Farmer and Gervonta Tank Davis. That's the matchup everyone wants to see. Tevin Farmer says Gervonta Tank Davis needs him more than he needs him. Now, we know that Tevin Farmer versus Gervonta Tank Davis would be a very good matchup. Stylistically, it would be a great matchup. You have Tevin Farmer, who's a pure natural boxer, and then you have Gervonta Tank Davis, who's basically the power puncher, slugger, and he does have some boxing ability. Basically, a common opponent in both of these guys is Francisco Fonseca. Francisco Fonseca fought Gervonta Tank Davis, and Tevin Farmer, when he fought Gervonta Tank Davis, he fought him in 2017. He was stopped in the 8th round, and he's most recently fought Tevin Farmer this year, and Tevin Farmer won a 12-round unanimous decision. So if we break it down, these are his only 2 losses of his career. Other than that, he would be undefeated. He's only lost to Tevin Farmer, and he's only lost to Gervonta Tank Davis. So he's a very talented fighter. And not only that, he's a very tough out for anybody in that weight division. So he's a very good and talented fighter. But let's break down Tevin Farmer versus Gervonta Tank Davis and how we believe they would compare. You know, I see a lot of people saying, well, Tevin Farmer struggled with Francisco Fonseca. And I can understand how you would see that. You know, it was a clear victory for Tevin Farmer. He did get a unanimous decision. Everyone saw him outbox Francisco Fonseca. But it was a difficult fight. You know, Tevin Farmer's not a pure knockout puncher. He only has 6 knockouts out of his 28 wins. So you know he's not going to be a huge knockout puncher, but he can hurt guys. But that's not the thing against Francisco Fonseca. He's a very, very tough guy to deal with. When he was fighting Gervonta Tank Davis, a lot of people don't realize that I had that particular fight scored very, very closely up until the stoppage. If you look at it like this, up to round 8, I had Gervonta Tank Davis about 4 rounds to 3. And, you know, if you look around I'll say about round 6, Francisco Fonseca was completely outworking Gervonta Tank Davis up until the stoppage. Now I'll put it like this. When it comes to the stoppage, if you look at it, Francisco Fonseca, if you go back and watch the fight, he was hit in the back of the head, and that's a controversy that a lot of people want to ignore. So it wasn't a clean knockout where Gervonta Tank Davis just stopped him and knocked him out easy. He hit him in the back of the head, so that was a controversial ending to that fight. And so that's just one thing to look at. But I will say this. I think Tevin Farmer and Tank Davis would be a 50-50 fight. I think it's a very close fight. I think Tank Davis is very strong. He's very skilled, and he's a very entertaining fighter. I think Tevin Farmer has better boxing ability than Tank. He just doesn't have the same pop in his shots. So if you break down that fight, you see Tevin Farmer going in, attempting to outbox Tank Davis and staying away from those big shots. On the other hand, Tank Davis will be needing to cut off the ring and stop Tevin Farmer. Tank Davis has proven and shown that he can cut off the ring, that he can stop guys, but he's never stopped an elite level opponent. On the reverse end, Tevin Farmer's never stopped an elite level opponent either, or beat elite level opponent, but he has displayed great boxing abilities. I think that's a very even matchup. I think it's a 50-50 fight, and I'll have to see more from each guy, especially, you know, coming into this fight with abnormalities for Tank Davis. I need to see how he looks. I need to see how well, you know, how he looks after being out of the ring for all this time. And a lot of people don't realize that Tank Davis has missed weight before. He has been undisciplined. So I think things like that will have to lean to the favor of Tevin Farmer, because we know Tevin Farmer is a consummate pro. He comes in, does everything he's supposed to do, and works extremely hard to get where he is. He's a world champion, and he's only looking for the big fights. I've even heard him say that he would willing to fight, Vasyl Lomachenko. They sparred together. He's already stated that him and Vasyl Lomachenko outworked him at the first, and then he gave him a bunch of work at the end. So it'll be a closer fight than a lot of people think. So I think Tevin Farmer is one of those guys who doesn't always get the credit, but he puts in the work, and it shows in the ring. As far as Francisco Fonseca, I think that was a very close fight for Tevin Farmer, because he's a tough guy to get out and beat, but he did beat him thoroughly in a 12-round unanimous decision, but it wasn't an easy fight by any means. And same for Gervonta Tank Davis. Just because he got the stoppage doesn't mean it was easy, and there was the questionable shot behind the head. So with all of that being said, I have to be honest and unbiased. I think it's a 50-50 fight. It could literally go either way. I think if Gervonta Tank Davis can stop, Tevin Farmer by being able to cut off the ring, I think that would be great, but I think Tevin Farmer is going to be too slick to easily get caught that quickly. I think Tevin Farmer's quick. I think he has great foot and hand speed. And I think that he's going to be a hell for a Gervonta Tank Davis to stop. His defense is great, and I think that's going to be something that Gervonta Tank Davis has never faced a fighter with that type of defense. So looking at the fight and breaking it down, I'll see that, Tank Davis and Tevin Farmer will go into the late rounds. It'll either be a late round stoppage or a unanimous decision win for Tevin Farmer. So a late round stoppage for Tank, unanimous decision win for Tevin Farmer. But I think it's 50-50. I think it honestly could go either way. And I need to see more in how Tank Davis, how he performs against Abnormatis. Is Abnormatis going to give him a lot of trouble? Is Abnormatis going to box him very well? We don't know these things. We have to wait and see. But defensively, Tevin Farmer is probably the most difficult guy to hit in that division. But once again, Unbiased, as always, the IBFP. Please share, like, and you must absolutely subscribe.